sort of a war. I was born around the time the Korean War ended, and then immediately after that we went into the Vietnam War, and then there was the war on poverty, and then there was the war on drugs, and now there's the war on terror. So I guess we're all war babies if we were, born any time after World War II. And I don't see this getting better. I see it getting much worse, and I think I don't know, maybe the Mayans have something. Maybe by 20, there's no telling how much damage can be caused in the next year and a couple of months, and I'm gravely concerned about it.
Well, the government is acting like it's the end of the world. I mean, rolling out checkpoints, sticking their hands down our pants. They want to set the precedent for forced inoculations. They've openly promoted that with the Emergency Health Powers Act. This is really frightening what this country is turning into. And then you look at the fact that globalism has deindustrialized our country. What's your view on this whole New World Order system and where it wants to take us?
Well, a friend, you may know him, a fellow named Servando Gonzalez, wrote a very interesting book. This is not my book, so I'm not hawking it, but it's called Psychological Warfare in the New World Order. This is a really intensive book, and it's obvious, just like this, it's obvious that, to quote a fictitious Home Secretary from one of my favorite shows, as I ease into my dotage, I find that timing is everything, from lovemaking to the golf swing. And this alleged taking down of bin Laden, followed by Anwar al-Awlaki, and now finally with Gaddafi, it just seems that all of these things, of course, al-Awlaki was a relatively recent player, but it appears that all of these little, like some sort of an infernal machine where you just or a tumbler on a safe, you get one click and you go back to the left. You can take that as the political left. You get another click, you go back to the right, you get another click, and then boom, the door opens. And the door, unfortunately, is the one that opens Pandora's box. It's escalating rapidly. In fact, I saw on your site today this Tyrell Corp. Does one super corporation run the global economy? Once upon a time, we read the great books, and we learned from those great books. Now I think it's the great screenwriters that produce a lot of information that if we'll just allow ourselves to hear it. From little goofy things like this Operation Endgame, just a juvenile script. But if you look deeply into it, you'll see that there's a really much more serious thread of truth running through there. Almost like, and I'll just wax silly for a minute. As Bill was a great fan of comic books, in that movie Kill Bill 2, I have been a fan of the Three Stooges, and in one of them they have the Axis powers all gathered together, and one of them says, "This is not right. Your minorities are infiltrating our majorities until you've made our majorities minorities." And of course, Mo, who's playing Hitler, tells him to shut up and hits him with a golf club or something. This is all, but it's true, and which is why, just shifting gears. Now, I warn you, I'll go a little bit ADD here. I think in the mode of firing the short-barreled shotgun out the back door, but that's where border security, the open border, the massive influx of undocumentable and in the vast majority untraceable people coming in here. No one can deny that this isn't just some mess that's just sort of happened, kind of like the universe was just a mess that just happened. My feeling is the universe was as we know it, was most definitely created by a superior power. And this mess that the whole world is facing now has also been created by an earthly superior power, and they are hell-bent to execute their purposes. That's just how it is.
Well, you're right. And 98 miles into the border, inside Texas, they wanted to search my car, and I had to have this big confrontation yesterday, and I shot video of it for the second time in just a month. Again, John B. Wells is our guest. And it's so asinine that Homeland Security is now running random checkpoints at malls, high schools, and highways and saying we never know where terrorists will be, but then the border is basically wide open, and they lecture us all day about how much danger we're under, and they're just going to have random checkpoints. Clearly, it's to train us to be prisoners and have no rights. It has nothing to do with the illegals. Janet Napolitano is in the news today, legalizing illegals and not deporting them by executive fiat. So I want to come back and talk about that. But is that what you're getting at?
Well, Absolutely, and then don't forget the part about if you object to any of this, you're immediately branded a racist, although the last time I checked, Mexican was a nationality, not a race. But of course, if you do anything that makes it look like you're against any group of people, then you're hit with that brand, and that brand stays there. That brand is like Keith Richards said about reputation. It's like a long shadow, and it's very difficult to overcome. And, well, I mean, it's obvious. Look, there's all this stuff about the states when the federal
John, stay there. We got a break. I want to hear about this on the other side. John B. Wells, jbwells.com. Stay with us.
Last July, a rare webinar was released that has since transformed lives all around the world. Now, viewed by over 100,000 people, the movement is growing stronger than ever. WaterWebinar.com. Find out how to take fluoride and heavy metals out of your water and your body. Go to WaterWebinar.com now. Sign up for the webinar and see the shocking video footage with your own eyes. A water secret so powerful, some have called it the #1 threat to the entire New World Order health agenda. Use it to neutralize deadly inorganic particles like lead, aluminum, and even mercury, and remove these accumulated poisons from your body and your drinking water. You can take your water freedom into your own hands and defend yourself and your family from the globalist health agenda. See the webinar before it's taken off the web. There's still time. Go to www.waterwebinar, that's WEBINAR.com now.
Hello, I'm Alex Jones. Myself, my family, the Infowars.com team want to relay to you and your families that we are intensifying our efforts against the globalist on every front. Infowars.com is leading the fight against the technocrats. But we can't do that without your help. By getting the films, bumper stickers, and T-shirts at Infowars.com, you will wake up people in your area and support our operation as we move to the next level. We need your help to spread the word like never before. They wish to hide themselves during this tectonic battle between the forces of freedom and darkness. You are the response to the globalist technocrats and their program of global eugenics, dehumanization, and ultimate extermination. The war is here. It's an info war. The spirit of 1776 versus the mindset of 1984.
What happened, man? You used to be energetic, happy, and wow, did the ladies love you. Now, you fall asleep on the couch, irritable, and out of shape. Don't be that guy. Call now for a risk-free trial of Ageless Male, a natural supplement shown to raise testosterone by 61% and maintain healthy, normal levels. No injections, no appointments. With healthy testosterone levels, you can feel that energy again, that great outlook again, and yes, even a healthy sex drive. Right now, you can try Ageless Male risk-free. There's nothing to lose, guys. If you're a man who's noticed changes in your body, your mood, your sex life, call now for a risk-free trial of Ageless Male. Be the guy you used to be. Just call 1-800-497-8345. Don't wait another day. Just call 1-800-497-8345. That's 1-800-497-8345.
From the shattered Rust Belt come the Lost Vegas.
I brought no one with me. No one with me here. I just came to watch my LED.
Life Before the Collapse. Vinyl LP by the Lost Vegas.
Drinking too much coffee. I'm eating the shade and somewhere
Life Before the Collapse by the Lost Vegas on 180-gram vinyl and mastered especially for vinyl by legendary audio engineer Steve Hall.
this guy. Why don't want me to this guy?
Life Before the Collapse by the Lost Vegas. The Lost Vegas. Now available at Amazon.com.
From his Central Texas Command Center, deep behind enemy lines, the information war continues. It's Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Well, he's one of the top voiceover guys in the world. Emmy Award-winning, Cleo, Marconi. awards for radio. He hosts a few times a month, and I always enjoy it when I hear him hosting Coast to Coast AM, second most listened to radio broadcast in the world after Rush Limbaugh. This is a short segment with John B. Wells. jbwells.com, of course, is his website. We were getting into the whole border situation. I mean, it really does render asinine all of this. Let's set up checkpoints randomly around the country and see if we catch one of these imaginary terrorists when we really know it's about training us to live in a police state while the borders are basically wide open. You were continuing with that point.
Well, you know, when the feds came against Arizona, saying that, oh, well, your state law is going to trump federal law. I mean, I don't understand why. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a legal scholar, but I know something silly when I see it, and it's like, well, isn't there a presumption that the federal government will uphold the law? And is it not incumbent upon the states to uphold the law when the federal government does not do this? So it's all about making friends, I suppose, you know, as far as what we're shown, but I think there is a concerted effort to take this country down, and every time we allow some part of the Constitution, anything in the Bill of Rights, to be sacrificed for what the government now calls the greater good. Well, if nobody does anything about it, then it's like on to step two. Let's knock out another one. You know, people have made several people have made allegations that this whole Fast and Furious deal. I mean, what kind of sense does that make? We're going to ship guns down to Mexico so we can track the cartels?
And then blame the Second Amendment. But look, expanding on that, Mexico is a failed state. Mexico arrests anybody that comes to their country illegally. Absolutely. I mean, since when is there this idea of I've got to pay taxes so illegals get in-state tuition, and then I'm bad if I don't? I can't go to Mexico and get in-state tuition. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's part of a globalist plan to break this country up. And more, it's clearly divide and conquer.
You know, Alex, this is, I know we got a short spot here, but let me get all of this out before somebody labels me as a neo-Nazi for bringing this up. That little movie, Downfall, where Erno Gantz did such a brilliant job of playing Adolf Hitler, that was based on Traudl Junge's secretary who was in the bunker when all this happened. And one of the most horrifying things that came out of Hitler's mouth was that one of his commanders came in and said, "Yes, my Fuhrer, but what about the wounded and the elderly and the children and all of that?" And he's like, "I don't care about their primitive needs. Look, the German people gave us a mandate, and if it doesn't work out, if they're not strong enough to pull it through, well, then their little throats are getting cut. Well, that's just tough, and it's not my problem." And I think that's what we're looking at now. I think that people are so afraid that they're going to be on a list or they're going to get a knock on the door. I mean, it could be anything. It could be anything from for tax investigations. It could be, you know, some trumped up thing. Here's the thing. This is what's so rough. It's not illegal to ask a question, which is why being in the spot now, being interviewed by you, I'm liable to open my mouth and say something that I really wish I hadn't said. But that's just how it is, because, you know, if I were immortal, I'd worry about it. But I'm not immortal in this realm. I'm not worried about the afterlife. I'm all right with that. It's not illegal to ask a question, but statements can get you in trouble. And you only have to be accused. Even if you're not guilty, it'll cost you everything you have just to defend yourself. And in the meantime, you'll be demonized and vilified, and you'll emerge out of this legal crisis, and you'll go back out in the world, and people will be looking at you like, well, he must have done something really terrible to screw up. It's just like Alexander Solzhenitsyn when he wrote that Gulag Archipelago. He said, nobody would say, look, they're arresting me. They're arresting me for no reason. There's somebody to do something. Everybody just came there, kept their mouth shut, and the KGB came up, and they just take them away, and that's it. They wind up on some Gulag iceberg somewhere, and that's the end of them. And the only thing that brought them down in the end was what? Money. Because they were nothing but blow all the time anyway. They didn't have the missiles they claimed they had. They didn't have the money or the clout they claimed they had. But they had a good front. So everybody was like, oh, yeah, the Cold War, we got to fear the Russians. And it sets off communist hysteria here. And
but, John, you just said it beautifully. We've got to call the bluff. That's why I just go out in big crowds, no bodyguard. That's why I confront the checkpoints and get in the police face, because we've got to call the bluff or they win. People think by cowering, that's how you stay safe. No, that's how you invite the wolves. You got to face them down. And we're not prey. We got to face down these predators.
Well, I absolutely agree with you. For a long time, I thought that the key